Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Joe. Welcome back to the Inside R Phillies podcast. We had a little bit of a holiday break. Hope you all enjoyed Christmases, Hanukkahs, Kwanzas, New Year's, all that kind of stuff. Hope you had a great time doing whatever celebrating you did over this last, week and a half or whatever it is. Pretty quiet time for the Phillies, but here to talk about what did happen and a whole lot more. We have Jeremy. How are you doing today, Jeremy?
I'm good. This is the emergency Zach podcast that's a week late.
Yes, Zach Pop. Let's get right into that. Headline news: Zach Pop, your newest Philly, signed to a major league contract, which I think at the time confused a lot of people because he's a guy who had an ERA of almost 15 across his entire 6.2 innings last year. And then you look at his 2 years prior and you combine them, and his ERA is right around 6. So this is a guy that has not really had a ton of success since that 2022 season. But what are your thoughts on Zach Pop?
I want to know why they just signed these crappy guys to major league deals. I really want to know. I don't understand it. You just know he's going to just blow a few games for some stupid reason in the beginning of the year. Then they'll release him and be like, "Oh, why did we even sign this guy?"
Right. From that perspective, it really reminds me of like the Neftali Feliz thing. What was that, like 2019? The Neftali Phillies experience?
2021.
That was 21? Oh my god. What happened
Yeah,
to the time?
yeah, but that one's different. He former All-Star, Rookie of the Year, who had success in the past and was doing well in the minors that year for us.
Yeah, I remember being excited when they called him up because I was like, whoa, like that's a name I remember from my childhood. He was so good on the Rangers. And then, alas, he had negative half of a WAR in one inning with the Phillies in 2021, which is insane.
Yeah, no, just typical case of top starter prospect comes up just to be a reliever, then they make him a closer, then they try to make him a starter again, blows out his arm, never recovered.
Yeah, but going to Zach Pop, like he's a guy that for whatever reason I didn't realize how bad he's been for years. Like in my head, he was still that like plucky Marlins reliever that had like really good movement on his pitches, was way better than you'd think. And I frankly did not realize how bad he's been for like 3 years now.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just I I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get to the national market and they send a Canadian.
Yeah, guess so. But he, if he's going to be the Jordan Romano of 2026.
But like, Jordan Romano at least had a strong track record in the past.
Hey, here's what you can say. His FIP last year was so much lower than his ERA, like 3 runs lower. The ERA pushing 15, that FIP rounded down to 11 even. I mean, that's some good stuff there.
Yeah, that strong 4.1 strikeouts per nine.
20.3 hits per nine.
Yeah, maybe this is just like a throwing him some money for pitching in one game and getting a loss with the Mets. Like, good job, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, but then give him like the major league deal of this to me is so confusing. If you want to give him a minor league deal, like
Oh
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But this isn't worth
Well,
a 40-man spot, and this isn't worth a 26-man
exactly.
spot.
I just don't understand these moves. And like, yeah. And I wish some sports would have like the gall to just ask somebody like, why did you sign this guy? What did you see? Don't just say, oh, you think he's looking at Pat. No. What exactly did you see from him?
Right. And just like really get into it. I mean, for what it's worth, Baseball Reference does project him to be better this year with a 5.18 ERA across 33 innings, which, I mean, that's still pretty bad. Now you're kind of getting into Joe Ross territory at that point. But I don't know. Anything else you have about Zach Pop in our week delayed Zach Pop emergency podcast?
The baseball savant likes his fastball velocity, so that's clearly the reason why we signed him. But I feel those guys are like a dime a dozen nowadays. That have velocity and suck. Why do we need to sign this guy to major league deal?
Yeah, no, that is totally right. Um, On to the other big news, and a lot of people have been talking about this because Tatsuya Imai ended up signing a contract with the Chicago or the White Sox with the Astros. I got the Murakami thing in my head there for a second. Um, Weird signing that kind of came out of nowhere. People I don't think expected the Astros, and then there was a point where Okamoto also was said to go to the
That was
Astros.
no, that was just they got the Imai contract. Like he just got
Yes,
confused. It was a
yeah,
yeah.
that's where I was gonna say, like, because I saw both and I was like, whoa, like what a morning afternoon for the Astros. But they still only got Imai. A lot of Phillies fans very disappointed. They wanted to break into the Japanese market. They thought this was a chance to make Taiwan Walker not have to be in the rotation. Where did you fall on Imai, and what do you make of the Phillies not, making the acquisition?
I mean, seeing that contract, I don't know why we didn't beat it.
I mean, they
Like,
must have not thought he was that good, right? Like,
well, I mean,
I don't.
yeah, I mean, like I'm not upset because that's all he got after the hype of like a $200 million contract and opt out after every year. Clearly, there's some teams had suspicious feelings about him, so the market was clearly not what they expected. So I'm not upset we didn't sign him because it clearly no one else wanted him because it seemed like anyone could have had him at this point.
Right.
But seeing what he signed for, I'm like, why didn't we offer him something a little bit like that? Like, opt out after every year. He does great for us next year. Perfect. Then he leaves. Okay, whatever. We have all that money coming up next year. Then we can make another competitive offer that we could have signed for him this year. I like, yeah.
If the Phillies really wanted to make strides in the Japanese market, which we can talk about if that's like a real strategy or not, this would have been the offseason, because at least if you're signing Murakami, Okamoto, Imai, these are guys that are younger and they're less expensive than other mistakes that the Phillies have made on like Taiwan Walker, Nick Castellanos, and we've seen multiple of those contracts recently. Um, and at the very least, you can kind of break into the market a little bit. What do you make, Jeremy, of that whole argument of like you have to break into the Japanese market and signing guys will make it easier to sign future Japanese players in the future?
I mean, I feel like you don't have to. Like, at least it'd be nice to get high quality talent in Japan, sure. But just think from a business perspective, yeah, you want to get the fan in that Japanese market, but and of course, it makes it easier if you have one to vouch, but you don't need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Here's my take on it. I know I have already texted you this, but it is what I really believe about it. I've tried to put myself a lot in the perspective of a player coming over from Japan. If I'm signing to go play somewhere in the Australian Baseball League, I am so much more likely to choose a team that's in Sydney or Brisbane or Melbourne or something like that over some hypothetical team in Bendigo, which is a great town, by the way. If somebody wants to go to Bendigo, it actually is nice. Or Townsville, which is a real name of a place in Australia. If I'm making a major life change and I'm moving across the world's biggest ocean, the Pacific Ocean, um, there's like a natural inclination to want to be in a more global city than a less global one. Unfortunately, like Philadelphia is a big city, but it is not really a global one, right? You can look at the airports that Philadelphia Airport flies to and compare it to New York's airport, Chicago's airport, Atlanta's airport, even any of the big West Coast airports. And you can see that Philadelphia just doesn't really have that global reach that so many other cities in the country have. So because of that, like I would argue, even if the Phillies did have success with any Japanese players that they may or may not sign in the future, um, it might not really make any difference in getting future players from Japan in the future. So I almost think it's like a fruitless effort. Now, if you run an evaluation on a guy and you're higher on somebody than other teams are, and you think he can be beneficial to the team, like yes, bid, go for it, but don't just spend money on people that you don't think is a good fit just because you want to break into the market. That's why I look at and really like from the perspective of a Japanese player, going back to the Australia example, I would take less money to go to Sydney or Brisbane than I would to go to Townsville. Just the facts of it. I think that there's like an inherent disadvantage for the teams that are in less global cities, which fair play, right? I mean, it's the way that the posting system works.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking up, like I did not remember this, but, like, I remember just looking up, like, the Cuban pitcher that we signed, Miguel Gonzalez, and I was like, remember he was terrible for us. I didn't realize he died in 2017 in a car crash, jeez. But like we signed him to this big 6-year, $48 million deal, and he was terrible.
And if you have like, they probably had
Oh,
a
we got him for less money after that. Yeah, because after that, yeah.
and the Phillies probably had like an evaluation that was positive on him. We know that the Phillies had a very positive evaluation on Yamamoto, and they were the biggest bidder, but he took less money to not go to Philadelphia. Um, Ultimately, I don't know if you're going to disagree with me or if you're going to agree with me on this one, Jeremy. I think, and this is going to be a hot take, people aren't going to like this. I think people in Philadelphia have a wildly outsized sense of importance as to how Philadelphia is perceived globally. The city does not have the best reputation around the world. People from Japan and other countries, if you travel, they are less likely to know about Philadelphia than many other major cities and even less major cities in the U.S. People will know Dallas, they'll know D.C., they'll know New York, they'll know San Francisco, Los Angeles, all kinds of cities, Chicago. Like, list can go on and on before you get to Philadelphia. People here love the city, right or wrong, whatever. I'm from South Jersey. I get it. But I think they have a wildly overinflated sense of how important Philadelphia actually is.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like if I typed in like how recognizable is Philadelphia internationally. I got this 3-year-old post on Reddit from Reddit, and basically it's just like, yeah, you're gonna get people that are gonna just good. They're gonna like bring up Fresh Prince. They might bring up the Phillies, the Eagles, and but like, yeah, they're gonna just think it's like just they know it's a city in the U.S., but they don't really know about it. It's way more important in the United States, rightfully so, but it's not a bad thing that it's not like world renowned.
Right. Like, can you say anything about like Perth in Australia or like Leeds
No,
in the United Kingdom?
no,
Like, people think
no.
the
I
same
know
thing in
them.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. Like no one gives a who outside of America cares about the Liberty Bell? Like,
Or like, the Constitution was signed here, so I'm sure it was a big deal 250 years ago. Now that it's 2026, but nobody cares now in 2026. It's old news.
yeah, no, exactly. It's like unless you're like, yeah, no, it's important for U.S. history and important for us to know about it, but yeah, there's so much other things people need to go care about than other cities.
Sports team in Plymouth Rock would not have some kind of inherent advantage because Plymouth Rock. Whoa.
Exactly. Exactly. So yes, so well, it's a big MLB obviously market and everything, and I'm sure that the Japanese players know about the Phillies. It's just it's
Yeah, you're not flying direct. You can fly direct to Japan from a lot of places in the U.S., but Philadelphia is, as far as I'm aware, not one of them. Um, it is what it is,
yeah no
really.
no we had Tadahito Iguchi and So Taguchi, and those were the last Japanese players I can remember.
They signed the guy last year that was terrible in spring training and then terrible in the minor
That's
leagues
right.
before they finally. What was it? I don't even remember his name. Shugano? Was that his name?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, yeah, he was terrible, yeah.
But cool stuff.
Here we go. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, the Tadahito Iguchi and So Taguchi are literally the only two Japanese players I've ever played for the Phillies, and they did it in like back-to-back years. That's hilarious.
That is pretty funny. That is really funny. Another thing about Philadelphia. Again, I'm gonna get so much flack for this. Philadelphia is like a declining city. There is not. This is like somebody that has grown up here, and I graduated from college, CS degree, and I feel very fortunate that right now I'm making it work. In a white collar path in Philadelphia, because the fact is, there's just not that many white collar jobs in Philadelphia because many companies that want to have offices in the Northeast, there are so much more likely to be in Boston. They're so much more likely to be in New York. They're so much more likely to be in DC. And if you're in those cities, in like the Northeast, what is the point of going to Philadelphia? It's just a bigger Baltimore where Baltimore gets eaten by DC, Philadelphia is getting eaten by New York, right? You see cities like Phoenix that are much newer and have been much smaller before, and now Phoenix is a much bigger city than Philadelphia is. Houston is a lot more relevant than Philadelphia at this point. It's as far as like the white collar workforce goes, it's a declining city, and I think that the Phillies should be considered fortunate that they have an owner that is willing to spend to the extent that they are, because I don't think that that happens most of the time with the way that Philadelphia is, truly.
Yeah, I mean, the economy all around the country is going to shit right now. So, ugh.
All right, well, that is enough talking about the state of Philadelphia, like you said. And now let's get to kind of the fun part of this. So we mentioned a few episodes ago, Jeremy, that we were going to kind of talk about like random baseball players and kind of just see where the conversation took us. This is a great time to fit in some of that. One thing that we learned, this might be interesting for anybody that's listening. If you type random into the baseball reference search bar, it will bring up a random baseball reference page. So I'm going to share my screen in Discord now, just so you can see what I am pulling up with my random people that are obviously listening. They're not going to be able to see this. But you can see my screen, Jeremy. So let's just see what kind of random stuff we pop up, and then we'll talk about it. All right.
Awesome. No, not awesome.
We got the Phillies and the Mets game, April 1st, 2020. That doesn't make much sense. Oh, this is a game in which they used Out of the Park Baseball 2021 to simulate the original 2020 schedule. So this is not a real baseball game.
Oh, okay. I say we just skip this type of random again.
Okay. But for those curious, the Mets won this game 3-2.
It's bogus, man.
Zach Wheeler, 6 innings, 2 runs. Jose Alvarez came in, allowed the losing run. Victor Arano pitched for the Phillies. DeGrom pitched to Gem, 7 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Edwin Diaz tried to blow a save, but Seth Lugo ended up getting the save. Ahmed Rosario, 3 hits for the Mets, offensive MVP. So that's interesting. Okay, another random one. That was something. All right,
there we go.
We have we have Irv Handleenter. He's a pitcher from 1914 to 1916, a former Philly, as it turns out. He pitched on the 1916 Phillies, where he pitched a total of 4 innings. Or no, this is not a pitcher. This is a pitcher. Where's his pitching stats?
He did so little. It's like back then, I guess. I don't know. He started 21 games. What the heck?
Let's go to the 1916 Phillies. The 1916 Philadelphia Phillies. What do you think of the 1916 Philadelphia Phillies? Looks like their best player was Grover Alexander, who put up a 12-WAR season.
Yeah, not a surprise. There was a reason why he had the strikeout record before Nolan Ryan and Carlton.
I was looking at Grover Cleveland Alexander.
I think it was someone else.
I was looking at his baseball reference page, like not that long ago, like maybe during this past season. I did not realize how good this guy was. I knew that he was like one of the better Phillies pitchers. Obviously, I believe like his number retired, and he was a Hall of Famer. But here's a guy that you look across his major stint in Philadelphia, right? This is 7 seasons, and he accumulated 61.2 baseball reference WAR across those 7 seasons, 2.12 ERA, about 2,500 innings pitched, 143 ERA plus. Like, one of the all-time great Phillies, really.
Oh yeah, an all-time great baseball team.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He pitched to 43 years old. It's just he had 116 WAR. That's just crazy.
I mean, what do you think of WAR overall as a concept? I still think WAR is generally pretty good to use for old years. I know not all people think that though. Like, what's your take on like WAR for like old baseball players, dead ball era kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's really the best thing we can go based on because like the game was so different that you really need to compare it. So some kind of stat that was able to like compare them for what they were back then.
Right.
It's good, but like obviously isn't. The problem is now we use it for the end all and be all of like Hall of Fame discussions, and it's just like,
No, I think you
like I
had
don't
a
know if you
really
listen.
great. You had a
Well, 'cause I
great
don't know if you
comment.
listen to the Philly show with Zalecki, Salisbury, and Amaro. Like they were talking with Rollins and just like listing up the stats that he has, even though his WAR isn't the highest, but like he's like the best, really like the best defensive and offensive shortstop ever.
Rollins to me, I mean, it's hard to say this completely objectively, but I have a hard time putting Rollins in the Hall of Fame, and it's not just because of the WAR. Look at like the OPS plus; he's a below average hitter over his career, which you can take out of a shortstop, and he had really good defense.
You know,
Super
the thing
effective.
is, if no, but the thing is, if he was playing in the current modern era or whatever, like he would have like at least 4 more Gold Gloves, and so you got you talking about 8 Gold Gloves. That changes the whole story.
No, I mean, that's kind of why I don't care about the awards when it comes to Hall of Fame voting, though. Like
I
Chase
know, but
Utley
but
does
his
not have.
defense his defensive stats are that good. I like get exactly what it was, but he's like the most hits, the most defensive run saves. It's just like yeah, he's like the most hits for a shortstop on most franchise. It's just not okay. That's not true. That's Jeter, I think, but you know what I mean.
If there was something in between, like the Phillies Wall of Fame and like the retired number Hall of Fame kind of quality player, to me, that's where Jimmy Rollins stands. I think
I
he's
know.
like
The problem is when you hit 30, it just. Ugh.
right. Yeah, you look at Rollins like as like a Dodger and as a White Sox,
Well,
and
that's two. It's the last 2 years, but like before, like he hit 30, and then it was just okay. Like he had a 23 home run year, but like his on base percentage cratered. Yeah,
well, I think the thing that like most hurts his because you're right. Like a lot of people do just like look at the WAR, right or wrong. Like, he was still accumulating WAR in his 30s, right? Like I feel like the WAR argument a lot of the time is, you really stockpile WAR in your 20s, and then in your 30s you just stay healthy, and you get a couple more a year, and you get to that magical total of 60. And for the most part, Rollins did that. You look at him post 30, and he still accumulated 14.8 WAR in his 30s. Like that's pretty good. He averaged about 2 WAR a year. Um, to me, with Rollins, you look at all of the time that he was in his 20s, and he's a guy that only had about 3.7 WAR a season. Now, does WAR mean everything? No, but his OPS plus is still 99, just barely below average. His defense, obviously, like you said, is incredible. But I just don't think he had like the super longevity into like his 40s, and I also just don't think his peak was strong enough.
yeah, but like the swagger.
You're right. How do you try to?
How do
I
you
guess you
can't?
can't quantify it, right?
No, you can't. You can't.
Like,
But just like he willed that team in 2007. Even though
yeah,
Utley should have been the MVP, which is the funny thing.
right. I mean, the whole thing, like Utley never getting an MVP, is like hilarious. And again, that's why like awards to me,
Or a Gold Glove.
right, right. It's ridiculous, ridiculous. Like awards, maybe you could argue that like awards in the last 10 years have started to actually mean something. But
Yeah.
to me, like I don't like
Well,
look how
they
many.
used to too. It was like this weird period within like the mid '80s to the mid 2000s where they're like awards are just popular vote.
Right. Or Derek Jeter
Popularity.
with all the Gold Gloves.
Yeah. Rafael Palmeiro with a Gold Glove.
Right. Right. It gets to a point where it's just complete nonsense. Um, I like how we got from the 1916 Phillies to Jimmy Rollins in about 2 minutes.
Great. Okay. Next random. Let's go.
All right, we have a
Okay.
box score between the Nationals and Marlins in 2016. This was a game in Miami, and Marlins guy, he might have been there. 3-2, Marlins win over the Nationals. This is when the Nationals were really good. First thing that like stands out to me with any kind of Marlins game from this era is like their lineup, like actually really, really good.
Oh no, it is just not talked about enough. What the death of what's his face?
Jose Fernandez, the
Really,
starter of this
yeah,
game.
yeah. His death really just destroyed that rebuild.
Right. I mean, it was beyond tragic, and I remember that happening. I think people at the time kind of knew how big of a deal it was. I mean, Jose Fernandez is a guy that would probably still be an elite pitcher in the league right now. He'd be 34 years old right now. He was on a legitimate potential Hall of Fame trajectory. Massive talent.
It's gonna be 10 years this year. This September, 10 years. Wow.
What happened at the time? I mean,
So people know he was electric. He had a crazy slider.
and he was so good for Miami, right? Like the Cuban influence, it was like that team had real energy, and a lot of it was really because of Jose Fernandez.
All they needed was starting pitching, besides him, and they would have been crazy. Their bullpen was pretty good, and their starters were just you had a guy with 490, Wei Yin Chen, 496, Justin Nicolino, 499, Andrew Kashner, 598. And so just like their starting pitching was the problem. But yeah, you had
Right.
you had 25-year-old JT Realmuto. You had wait, was this before or after steroid? Okay, you had post steroids D Gordon. But
Still,
you
like,
had a
not a terrible player.
no, you had
Defensive.
prime Yelich, prime Ozuna, and prime Giancarlo
Stanton.
Stanton. So that's like a crazy offense.
You had Ichiro. Ichiro was not, the greatest Ichiro of all time. He's 42
Yeah,
years
but still,
old.
42 years old, hit 291 with a 730 OPS. Like crap.
I mean,
That's
looks like Miguel Rojas had a bad year in 2016, but Miguel
didn't play the
Rojas was
Phillies
there.
enough.
Jeff Brancore was there. That's a fun team. Like the Marlins teams from this kind of mid 2000s, like so interesting. And like you said, if it wasn't for Jose Fernandez's passing, like this would have been the core that they actually stuck with, and that they probably would have had a lot of success with.
Yeah. Let's because after 20, he died in 2016. After 2017, they traded Yelich, they traded Stan. Yeah, because they didn't do improve at all in the next year their starting pitching was atrocious.
Yeah, I mean their number 2 starter, like you said, that year was like Adam Conley. I mean they had like a decent bullpen, really. I mean David Phelps was there. Kyle Bearclaw was like super underrated in the day. Jose Urena, that's the name. Jared Kozart, Phillies legend, was on that team.
Oh my god, we like Kozar is like perfect example why people need to like not be upset when we trade prospects.
Yeah, why don't you remind everybody how big of a deal Jared Kozart was back in the day?
Yeah, so it all starts with hold on. Where are you, Jared? Oh yeah. So he was drafted 38th round of '08 as just like a one of those late round guys. Hey, this guy was supposed to be like a first rounder, but no one was afraid of signing his demands. So we got him. And then he was immediately a top 100 prospect after his age 20 season. Which is crazy why he wasn't after his age 19 season because he hit the year first year after he was drafted, he hit a ERA under 3 and at 19 years old.
Yep.
Yeah,
His age 20 season, for those curious, it was in single A Lakewood at the time. Like I said, that time it was called low A still.
I know.
379 ERA.
I still haven't adjusted to that being high A now. I just can't. It bothers me.
Yeah. Well, they don't even call it low A anymore. It's A and it's high A. It's not low A and high A.
Oh, well, that's whatever.
But he struck out 9.7 in low A, Lakewood. Like, really good year for a 20-year-old, right?
Yeah. So he was hyped up. He was like he was the head of the baby aces, uh, which was it was Cosart, Cos,
Oh, who were they? I know. Shoot.
yeah, Pettibone was one of them.
Yes, that's a name. Jesse Biddle.
Yeah, Brody Colvin. There we go. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. Yeah, and they all did nothing.
So the trade.
Brody Colvin was ranked 56 after 2010. He was rated higher than Cosart. Oh my god. Yeah. And then we traded Cosart in the Hunter Pence deal. And
Right.
so everyone was like, oh god. And then they immediately like 3 years. So he made it up there, had a really good rookie year, but there was his minor league numbers really never took off after that one year. His strikeouts never were amazing. Like he had like a 9, 7, whatever. But his fastball was supposed to be like a big fastball and like strike guys out. That his strikeouts never appeared. So when he had a 1.95 ERA his rookie year, he walked 5.3 per nine and that struck out 5 per nine. And so then
Right.
the next year they traded. He was middling 4.41 after 20 starts, and they traded him to Miami, and just for Marzinik and Colin Moran is just he just never materialized, and I think he got like a vertigo or something with the Padres, and then never pitched again.
Oh, I do remember that. What? Well, the baby aces. Like, didn't Jesse Biddle have like some kind of freak injury too? That like some like kind of hail. I think I remember like hail falling on his head, and
No, that was no Jesse Biddle. Yeah, he got hit by a giant piece of hail, got a concussion. It was never the same.
yeah, that's true Phillies stuff right there. Um, but one of the other big prospects from like this era of the Phillies was Jonathan Singleton, and he was traded with Jared Cozart in the Hunter Pence deal. How surprised were you when, like, out of nowhere, 2 years ago, 2024,
Oh
Jonathan
right.
Singleton came up and like started a majority of the season for a playoff team in the Houston Astros?
Yeah, that was that's just bizarre. How he just came back after. Yeah, he came up in 2014, stunk, and then disappeared, and came back up with the Milwaukee after like. Did he go to Japan?
I'm not sure. I actually don't know.
No, he went to the Mexican League and just popped off. But yeah, the thing was he was with Houston forever just because he was the first one that signed those like pre-major league debut extensions,
Right.
and it did not work out. Also he liked smoking weed more than playing, so he kept getting suspended for that. But yeah, he bust, and then I was upset that we traded him because I was like, oh, he was good. He was supposed to replace Howard. Yeah, ranked 39, 34, 27, 82, and did nothing. Like there are, I can name them now prospects that we've traded since 2006 that have amounted to anything. Darno, uh, Carlos Carrasco, only after he was outrighted off the roster at one point. So
That was a long
that's
time
like,
after.
yeah, and we got Cliff Lee for him. So like, not doing crap about that.
The few starts of Sixto Sanchez where he was dominant before he
blew out his arm and loved eating food.
yes.
Like just I remember coming up, he was like, "Oh, there was like he was this. They were about he was so tiny." And then when I saw him when he got released, holy crap, he got.
Well, Sixto Sanchez is like completely out of affiliated baseball now.
Oh yeah, no, he done. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, they were worried about his
Crazy.
frame, and they were right. Whatever, he just could not. But this was the thing with Painter, like his sort of thing. Sixto Sanchez was supposed to be, it's like he was like the top pitching prospect in baseball for a few years,
Right.
Just
I
crazy.
mean,
And he's still only 27.
the whole thing makes me kind of just want to like. I am so worried about Andrew Painter. We've talked about this so much. This is not a rehash. This is not an episode for rehashing everything. So maybe I'll hold it off. But this is why I'm worried about Andrew Painter. Um,
Yeah, no, and honestly, yeah, until prospects amount to anything, and it's you never know. The Kyle
right.
Trabeck traded for Halliday sucked.
No, absolutely. Um, to the Nationals side, let's see if there's any kind of fun. Oh, this is a fun game. The Nationals starting pitcher for the Nationals that day, Joe Ross. Joe Ross.
It's like only good year.
I think it was probably his best year, right? He was okay on the
Like, he was
19 Nationals, right? No, actually, he wasn't. Wow.
no, yeah. His first 2 years he was good, and then he's been garbage ever since.
Then he was bad. Um, obviously, former Philly Bryce Harper, or current Philly Bryce Harper, was on the Nationals in that game. Former Philly Ben Revere. Jason Worth, obviously, was there. Former Philly Wilson Ramos. Phillies love taking their people from the NL East, man.
Yeah, but there was a time where like the Phillies were like there was like former Phillies on like substantial former Phillies on like every team. It was really fun. I like remember tracking it. It was fun. We had, like all these like former prospects that everyone was using.
That's
That
one of
were
the fun
really
parts about baseball, right? Like seeing like that were the prospects that you used to have, how they do it, and it makes you like a more knowledgeable baseball fan overall when you're following these guys, because at least you're kind of keeping some tab on all these other teams, which, there's a lot of baseball fans that don't. They just turn on their local team a few nights a week whenever they want to watch, and they don't know anything outside of that.
yeah, but Brendan Revere was so mediocre, but so fun to watch. He would
And
just
defense,
slap a single and then steal a base.
unreal defense. I remember the defense was like, oh, like if we could bring back like Ben Revere to like the Phillies right now, we would totally take that, right? Like Ben Revere
Oh
to me
yeah.
is like a 70th percentile outcome for Justin Crawford.
Well, I mean, I would also say he's literally what the ceiling of Rojas, like with what we want Rojas to be.
It's like a
Like
95th percentile outcome for Rojas.
yeah, Ben Revere is 5'9", Rojas is 5'11". Well, Ben Revere is 175, Rojas is 165. It's just yeah,
Is
just
it
short, skinny, non-power center fielders that can have defense, but just like if Rojas can just make contact and hit it on the ground.
is it an acceptable outcome for Justin Crawford if he turns into Ben Revere?
Yeah, yeah. People like say bust whatever, but if you could turn a prospect into an everyday starter, like
I mean, he's like, fine, but slightly below average starter. He had a average over his career of 1.5 WAR per 162 games. It's a serviceable. If we could guarantee right now 1.5 WAR from Justin Crawford next year, sign me up.
of a black hole or like s- center field has been the past like 2 years.
Yeah. Remember when Ben Revere hit his first home run with the Phillies? It was his first career home run. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that like
I
very
remember that.
vividly for some reason. I remember how happy he was hitting his first home run like that. I remember there was some interview, and I remember I was like 14 years old at the time, but I remember thinking how cool that was.
Yeah, no, yeah. He ended up hitting, two that his career high for a season was two, and he hit it in, you know, back to in like 3 years in a row, 14, 15, and 16. He hit two home runs.
If you were playing baseball, if you were a baseball player, would you rather be like a power guy, contact guy, or a pitcher?
Ooh, well, I'd be all three.
Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah,
Oh, there you go. For me, um, I say this as I'm still recovering from shoulder surgery, but I loved pitching. Like pitching to me was like the most fun thing on the planet. Like as long as I can do it, I'm gonna go into a men's league and I'm gonna pitch again as soon as I'm able to after the shoulder surgery. Like something about just being able to like totally fool a hitter and get them like swing over a curveball. It is like the biggest dopamine hit ever. It is just an addictive feeling.
And I always did like third baseman in the MLB The Show. So
Yeah. It would be the show. I always play either center field because it's like I think more fun to play the outfield, or I'm catcher because then I have fewer fielding opportunities and can get back to hitting sooner rather than later.
I know is MLB The Show 26 coming to PC?
I feel like MLB The Show on PC is tough because like the PCI, the whole idea of a PCI, if you have a mouse and keyboard, it just dies, right? Like PCI would be overpowered on a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, but I don't care about the online. I just want to be able to play the show. Like, I mean, I have my MLB 06 the show on my PS2. I repped. I could play that. But like, I mean, yeah, right. Like we have Super Mega Baseball on PC, which is fun, but it's not the same.
If you're playing offline and you're not playing online, buying stubs, whatever, how are you going to make San Diego Studios money?
I know.
Sad,
I know,
but unfortunately, it is true.
I know. Like, just come on.
All right, for another random page.
Sure, let's do another one.
Okay, we can roll with this. This is a box score between the Pirates and the Dodgers in 1975. Both pretty good teams this year. Old Pirates logo, by the way, super cool. I love that logo. Best players you had on the teams: Willie Stargell. This is like peak Willie Stargell, I believe, on the Pirates. Phillies.
I love his name. I've always loved Stargell's name.
Yeah, let's go deep into Willie Stargell here. He's a guy that's in the Hall of Fame, but I think this kind of goes back to the same discussion point that we were having earlier. In the current day of like the Hall of War, Willie Stargell might not make the Hall of Fame because he doesn't have 64.
Yeah, but he was great.
I mean, you look at the stats, right? He had 475 home runs, almost got to that 500 mark, which would have been super cool. I definitely, for whatever reason, think of Willie Stargell as like more of a contact guy for some reason, which he's a career 282.
That's weird. I always knew he was big power boy.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought of him as both, but I always thought it would be like slightly more towards that contact, which 282 batting average is not bad, but 475 home runs. That obviously jumps off the page. He got past the 2,000 hits mark, 2,232 hits over his career. I feel like he's one of like the greats that you don't hear about as often.
Stars in his name. He's a star.
This is true. He is a Roberto Clemente Award winner as well. You'd love to see that. What is like the career who has won the Roberto Clemente Award year over year? Are they always good players? Like I feel like there's never like just a random ass player that wins the Roberto Clemente Award.
I
have the list up now.
Well, okay, 2014 Rollins is definitely a choice.
It's a name though, right? Like Jimmy Rollins is a name.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, everyone here was good at one point, at least at one point.
Yeah, the residents of New York City, 2001, along with Curt Schilling, for their relief effort. I'm laughing at the Curt Schilling part, not at the residents of New York City part. For their relief efforts following the 9/11 attacks.
I know it's it's performative. So like, okay, here's the real award, but
yeah, well, like wasn't like that one year that like the Time Person of the Year was everybody or something like that.
Wait. Time person of the year is you. It was is you. 2006.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a choice.
Add it to your resume, man. Time Person of the Year 2006.
Honestly, if I was reviewing someone's resume and they put that under, like, if they were like right out of college or something, they had a smaller resume I was reviewing, I would laugh. If you could fit it in there, I would definitely be like, this guy's got,
Well, you know what's
or
crazy?
yeah, this person is hilarious.
I actually considered doing that when I was in college. But we are almost at the point where people that are graduating college were not alive in
Stop it.
2006.
Stop it.
Ugh. It's crazy. I mean, when is are the first Major League Baseball player that was born in the 2010s? We're probably like 3 years away from that.
Oh, yeah, you have like yeah, some 18-year. Yeah, geez, stop it. Oh my God. Like, I remember, yeah, Drape. No, who was?
Who was the first baseball player born?
No, so Jesse Biddle was the last, uh, like, first round pick, I think, by the Phillies that was like older than
Right.
me. And so that was just,
Oh,
uh,
I've heard this story before. The first MLB player to that was from the 2000s. I remember hearing the story actually. Elvis Luciano. I think he was like a Rule 5 pick or something like that. There was like some where he like clearly was not ready to make it to the major leagues, but he was like some random Rule 5 pick by Blue Jays, and he was not good. I wish I remembered the whole story. But anyways, the first player in the 2000s was Elvis Luciano in 2019. So yeah, we probably are like 3 years away from 2010's players being in the major leagues.
that's just not. All right, first player born in each decade at Homer. I got this article.
Okay.
2000s was Luis Garcia. That was, and then 1990s was Starlin Castro. Interesting.
Huh.
1980s was Pujols.
That's a name.
1970s was Pudge.
These are actually a couple of big names in a row.
I know. 1960s was Rick Styleheimer.
Never heard of that
He only
man.
played one season. Only played one season. Only hit one home run.
Oh,
He was 19 years old. Wow. 1950s, Cesar Cedeno, another big name. 1940s, Monsanto. 1930s, Del Crandall. Uh, and then 1920s, Sibby Sisti. 1910s, Dib Williams. Who could forget that? June 1st, 1930. What a game. And then 1900s was Marty McManus for the Browns,
bam.
who are now the Orioles. Yeah, that's crazy. That yeah, you had friggin' Pujols. You had Starlin Castro. Starlin Castro, I feel like he was like a star, and then by everyone in MLB, and then everyone just at the same time was like, "No, you're not."
Didn't he do steroids at a point, Starlin Castro?
Not that I'm aware of, but like he came
What?
up, was hit the ground running at age 22. He had a 3.5 WAR. That was his third season, and then he had a mediocre 2013, then bounced back in 2014, and then just meh.
It
Like
wasn't
he
steroids.
was
It
not
was his career ended because of a domestic violence suspension, and then the Nationals released it at the end of it.
really. Oh, jeez. Well, I take back everything I said about he deserved it.
So I guess that Cubs middle infield where they had Addison and Russell. Were they ever together in Chicago? Starlin Castro and Addison Russell.
No, he was. He no, he was maybe. Yeah, 2015. They played like, but he was. Yeah, they got rid of Castro because they had Addison Russell.
Overlapped in 2015 though. So
Yeah, but to talk about like what could have been, I thought the Cubs were going to be a dynasty with that young roster. You had Rizzo, Addison Russell, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Wilson Contreras, all guys who the max age was 26,
Right.
and then everyone died.
Yeah, I mean that 2016 Cubs team, so fun. I mean Ben Zobrist. You didn't mention Ben Zobrist, but obviously that's like
Yeah, but he was 35 years old.
that's like he still put up 3.5 WAR, like all time utility
I know,
guy.
but like, yeah, I know, but he wasn't like a dynasty. I was thinking that he wasn't. I don't think he's gonna be a long part of the dynasty.
Right. No, you're right.
But it's Rizzo, Chris Bryant.
Jake Arrieta was 30 years old.
Yeah, God. We needed to sign him to show free agents were willing to sign people, and it was like a favor to Boris. I'm pretty sure that meant to make him happy. But it was just God. What is he? He was a pain in the butt. Like nothing pisses me off than stubborn pitchers who pitch, hurt, and suck.
Yes.
Like you're hurt. Like who are you trying to impress? You're hurt and you're sucking.
Yeah. Yeah. That is
God.
true.
And he this sour attitude. Like I just don't understand. Like you were hurt. Why would you try to pitch that? Yeah.
Kyle Hendricks in 2016 had a
He should have.
2.13
No.
ERA.
I think he should have. I will maintain that he should have won the Cy Young.
He had a 196 ERA plus. Absurd.
Yeah. No, the professor was insane. I maintain 2016. Kyle Hendricks should have won the Cy Young over Scherzer. Like
he's still going too. I mean, he's not that great, but he's still going.
no, Hendricks retired. No, he's done. He retired.
Did he officially retire? Okay, he officially retired.
Yeah, no, he announced for this offseason.
Okay. I do remember that. Yeah, no, I do remember that. I'll let you mention that. John Lackey on that team. John Lackey, I remember him like vividly being like the definition of like a 3-starter on the Red Sox when I was growing up.
Yeah, he was the ace of the Angels when I was growing up.
Yeah. I remember the Angels years, but for whatever reason, like I guess what is it that I remember that? It must be like the 2010 year that I remember a lot. 2011 he was bad.
He had that clause in his contract that if he had Tommy John surgery, like they got an extra year for like super cheap.
Yeah.
And then he had Tommy John surgery, and he honored it. People were like, "Oh, is he going to retire to like back out of it?" He honored it.
I love how weird baseball contracts are. Like the EMI contract is like the perfect example of like a just ridiculous baseball contract, but like an opt out after every season, like only in baseball.
Yeah, no, it's just like it's like it's like weird on the team side, and the player side. You both hope they opt out because that means they did really well.
Right.
But it's just like if you don't do really well, okay, we'll still pay you a shit ton of money to hopefully do well again the next year. Like it's just really weird.
If you're a big market team, though, that's usually okay because like you'll pay the money to keep the player there. People usually want to stick with the team that they are, even if they opt out because they're familiar with it or whatever. Opt outs are like a great strategy in like out of the park baseball. Just give people random opt outs, give people options. Like vesting, we need more vesting options. I love vesting options. Like just give people like
I never I have no problem giving like JT like a decent contract with vesting options that are easy to make. Like if he plays like 130 games, give him a couple more million. It just makes no sense.
Games played vesting options to me. Well, there's like a restriction like what you can have vest.
Really?
Like there's certain. I think there is like a restriction. Like you can't have every single stat be part of a vesting. Games played is definitely one of the ones you can use. But like I would want to use something like batting average, right? Like it can keep vesting as long as JT is holding up like a 250 batting average or something like that. As long as he's doing his job. To some extent, swinging the bat. Imagine if you could have a contract like vest on like the war, like how meta that would be.
Yeah, but then the problem is with it doing anything war basis, the fact there isn't no and like at this point I'll never but MLB needs to either like say B war F war is be all end all, and I will stand by B war because I don't think defensive metrics should be valued as much because those aren't exciting. Like,
Right. Well, not only because
and like,
they're not exciting, but because like pretty much anybody who knows what they're talking about will tell you that there's so much that still has to get figured out as far as defensive metrics go.
well, but it's just like we had Howard like Howard was by far the worst first baseman I've ever freaking seen, and we won tons of games because of his offense.
Right. Like, the value of missing a scoop is usually not as impactful as like hitting an extra home run every couple of weeks or whatever that you get over a defensive first, bat second first baseman.
Oh, exactly. So it's just So we've gotten this weird era where people are like going a little too hard on for the defensive wizards. And it's just like they still have a place, but no, they are not 7 warp like star players.
The way I look at it, I think it's super stratified. Players on the corners, left field, right field, first base, third base. I really don't care that much about your defense unless you're like, an Alec Boehm 2021 level third baseman. It just doesn't really matter to me all that much. Up the middle, your catcher, you gotta have a catcher that frames. Like Ditch doesn't try to frame, and it drives me crazy. You gotta have a good defensive second baseman. You gotta have a good defensive shortstop, and you gotta have a good defensive center fielder. If you have all those, then your defense matters even less on the corners, and you can just sell out to have those guys mash.
Yeah, I mean we had 96 wins, and Nick Castellanos was our right fielder. Like, come on.
Pretty crazy. Did you hear that thing today? Kind of going back to the actual thing. There's like the article, like Nick Castellanos going to like the Royals, like the rumor. Yeah, this was on the Phillies Reddit. Joel Reuter of Bleacher Report feels that it would be a good fit for the Royals. Interesting.
Cool.
He was talked about on the Royals a while ago. I think like the trade deadline 2 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe?
no, there was rumored that. Yeah, there was rumors that he actually might be traded to the Royals at the deadline.
Philly should have done that.
I know. Oh my god. Like I don't. Yeah, we can freaking broken record, but like I don't understand why you protected him only to do this shit anyway. It's just like you should have just released him.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think the odds are that this ends in a trade versus like a DFA versus the Phillies keeping him?
No, they're not keeping him. They're never keeping him. They've already no, unless no. There's no way. It's done. The damage is done. They both want to be gone from each other. The only chances of this being a trade is if somehow they agree to take on 1 million of the deal, and it's just like, okay, boom, you're gone.
If you could find a trade, sure. I don't like Nick Castellanos, right? Like if he's a locker room cancer, then discard what I'm about to say. I would rather keep him than DFA him. Because even if you don't want to start him, and he should not be starting under like any circumstances, he can be a right-handed hitter off the bench, and he'll be.
Yeah, but he won't accept that.
He doesn't have a say.
Yeah, but he's going to pound Mo and destroy the clubhouse.
If he's going to do that, discard what I said and DFA him. That's fine.
Yeah, if you can agree to be a bench player and suck it up everything, I wouldn't mind keeping him through spring training, see what the hell he does, try and see what it goes. Yes, that I wouldn't mind, but his ego won't allow it. We've seen it. He got super pissy for a defensive fucking replacement. He's not going to be a bench player.
Are you surprised?
At least with the Phillies.
Are you surprised that the Castellanos situation hasn't been resolved in 2025 and now we're to 2026 and a month and a half?
No, I think because the Phillies are also just like waiting, be like, okay, injuries happen right before spring training, stuff happens, so like there's no rush to release him.
Yeah, and
so
that's why I think
petty. Like it could be a little petty on the Phillies side, like waiting until these teams get their ducks in a row, and then okay, here, have fun, try to find a team now.
Maybe they wait until like the middle of spring training. Honestly, Like,
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't like. I don't want him back at all. But I have no problem trying to get his value up in spring training and getting rid of him.
sure. I mean, unless he, swings and misses at some more sliders in the dirt in spring training, and people are
Well,
like,
then
oh,
you just release him. Yeah.
right. And then it's kind of like people were clowning on the White Sox so much for the Luis Robert thing last year, but they did the right thing in not trading Luis Robert, because if Luis Robert, he was at his all-time low value. If Luis Robert has a good first half this year, the White Sox will trade him for more than they would have traded him for last year, and they will end up having positive value at the expense of just spending some more money on him this year. And if he doesn't,
Considering how low their payroll is, yeah, they can afford it.
yeah, and if he doesn't, then whatever. You probably get like the same mediocre package that you would have got last year. It's like the White Sox 100% did the right thing in keeping him last year and not trading him.
Yep.
Similar thing. Like, the Phillies should not just let Nick Castellanos go for free, because you always have the option to do that, and by keeping him, you're preserving your optionality to do whatever you want to do with him later.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it will be resolved sooner than later. Just it will be an exciting day when he's gone.
Yes, that will be a dopamine rush for sure. I think it's very fitting that we ended this episode on Nick Castellanos, of all things.
Yes.
We circled back and ended in the exact same place that we always do, talking about how much we dislike Nick Castellanos. But this was fun. This was good, Jeremy.
Yes.
If people like this, let us know. We will talk about it in the future. I know that we have some comments, or at least one comment that was in the podcast channel on Discord. We'll get to this later. But we'll do another episode over the weekend or something like that. We're an hour in. I think we are.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I have more. Yeah. I have more. I have Leah. I can talk about that more later for next one. That's a little bit more substantial.
Yes.
And a spring. And that really is a good one for like a spring training preview.
Yeah. No, we could do that too. That could work. But yeah, I have a lot to say about it because I have a pretty strong opinion. But thank you very much for being here, Jeremy. A great time doing this.
Yep.
And thank you everybody for listening. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. We will be back pretty soon. Not as long as I hope. Now that the holiday break is done, we'll be back sooner rather than later with some more content for y'all. So looking forward to that. Thank you all so much for listening. This is Joe, and I'll talk to you very soon.